Hey, y'all, my name is Bryant Young.
And Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads podcast, brand new episode.
That's right. Got one of my good buddies on the podcast that, man, I've known him for a long time. Great person, even better dad. I love the stories that he shared.
Oh, yeah, and he's soon to be the dad with the highest number of kids we've had on the show.
Yes, and a young dad at that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, he's your age, and he's already got one more on the way.
Yeah,
so
almost here.
By the time this episode comes out, there may be a fourth one on the ground.
Could be.
Who knows? So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. He had some fun insights. He had some fun stories.
I love the way or what he's teaching his kids and how he's teaching them. That type of stuff, and so I think a lot of people will get a lot of benefit out of that, and could really use that insight, as you were saying there.
We love ripping off ideas from people, and Isaac was no slouch in that regard. We loved taking some ideas from him. So
that's right.
I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. So without further ado,
let's do it.
Decent Dads podcast. Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads podcast. We're here to tell dad jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome, he's a 6'3" sophomore retired shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he's the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of two, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek?
Good. Well, evidently retired now, so I'm hanging up the shoes, man.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and speak for both of us and say you're not allowed to play basketball anymore, so we're going to go ahead and call you retired.
All right, fair enough. I can't disagree with that. But no, man, it's a good day for a good day.
It's a good day.
That just made me think of something. So every time I get home from work, I always ask Allie, I'm like, how was your day? And I ask her, how were the boys today? Like today when I got home from work, she's like, it was a really good day. Other than having to call poison control, it was a really good day. I was like,
oh, shoot.
What? And so she said, Brody came into the living room where her and Liam were playing with a dishwasher pod in hand, and he'd taken a chunk out of it, bit a chunk out of it.
Weren't the millennials doing that?
Yeah, and they're fine.
That was a Type-On thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. So Allie called poison control, and they're like, "Well, if he just ate the powder, he's fine. He'll either be fine, he'll throw up once, or have an explosion on the back end." And
explosion on the back end. I like
said.
that terminology. That's pretty good.
Other than that, he's good. But anyways,
did any of those happen?
No, he was fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah,
perfect.
He ate his dinner after that, and he was good to go.
No problem.
Yeah, so
iron gut.
Right. Yeah, but no. To get back on topic here.
Yeah. Geez, Derek.
Got a fantastic guest today.
Yeah, we do.
Good buddy of mine. We go way back, quite a ways back. What, probably 10, 12 years?
That's awesome.
College. Yeah. Isaac Stewart. So excited to have you on, Isaac. So I know you pretty well. You and Bryant just met tonight for the first time. So if you will, tell us, who you are, what you do. Give us your dad resume. Tell us how many kids you got, what are their ages, which one's your favorite.
Yeah.
Good luck.
There's certain days that I have favorites. I don't think you're supposed to say them.
You're among friends. Pal.
Okay. Yeah. Certainly.
Nobody else will hear this.
Okay, dad resume. Yep, I have 3.5 kids. I have Cannon, he's 6, just finishing up kindergarten. Aspen, she's in preschool. Mila, so Aspen's 4, and then Mila is 3. And then my wife's pregnant. We're due in June with our 4th. And
exciting.
We chose not to find out, so we don't know what the last one will be. But
I have so many questions about that, but please continue.
Find out soon enough.
Yes. We live right here in Rogersville. I'm a real estate investor. We basically specialize in senior living facilities, and
cool.
We have some single families and duplexes kind of scattered throughout. Makes up the portfolio, but that's us. Me and my wife, we met at Evangel. We met in the library, and after that, 4 kids and happily married.
Yeah,
Wow.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's
10
certainly
years
the
is
most wholesome story we've heard on the show about how somebody met their spouse. I love that.
In the library.
In the library.
Studying,
I
of
definitely
course.
went to the library a lot in college.
Yeah. Not as much studying was going on my part. I was studying the field,
There you go.
looking for the smart one, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
There
I
you
get
go.
that.
There you go.
I love it. Well, man, we're glad you're here. Thank you very much. We always do a couple of things every week, and we like to start out with the tantrum of the day. Inevitably, every parent is going to have a tantrum that they're dealing with their kids, whether their kids are newborns, 6 years old, 16 years old, or 36 years old. They're probably whining about something.
Oh, yeah.
Our tantrum this week here in this house was actually not an Elsie tantrum. It was a Bryant tantrum. We had a dad tantrum this week. And it's not so much a tantrum as it is like just a dad brain, dad flub, and then the tantrum that follows up behind it because I'm so mad at myself for
Right.
screwing
Frustrated.
up.
Yeah.
So my daughter goes and spends the day with my mother one day a week. And so I'm get Elsa in the car, get her all strapped in, and I'm driving to mom's. And mom and dad live like a mile away from here. So it's very, very close, and it's literally 3 turns and you're there. But I'm in my head. I've got Elsie's music playing in the car, and I'm in my head thinking about what my day, what meetings I have or what work I'm going to need to do today. And I proceed to get 3/4 of the way to my office before I remember that I've got my daughter in my back seat, and I have to turn around and drive back to my mom's house. And it was an extra 5 minutes, but it was just one of those things. I was like, you idiot. Really?
Yep.
Really, this is the way we're starting our day? And so we go on, and I drop Elsie off, and then I go to the gym that day at lunch, which is also out here kind of by the house. And so I go to the gym, except that I don't go to the gym. I drive right past it and drive like I'm going home. So twice in one day, I'm just so in my head that I'm not paying attention. And so by the end of it, you can just, if you could have been a fly on the wall on the inside of my vehicle. It's just Bryant just like cursing at himself under his breath. You idiot. Just pissed by the end of the day. Could not get my head screwed on straight. So
Nice.
Elsie is an angel and has no problems whatsoever and does
lucky
nothing
you.
wrong.
Lucky you, poor
It's just
Elsie.
me who needed to have a tantrum this week. What about you, DC? What'd you deal with?
Had a pretty good one. Going to preface it with, so we've had a couple different parents tell us that have kids older than us. They're like, hey, when your kid hits 3, and Isaac can probably talk a little bit about this too. When your kid hits 3, they're really going to test your limits and see how far you're going to let them go with things.
Okay.
And so both these parents told us, they're like, hey, put in the work at 3 and you'll be thankful when they hit 4 or 5 and so on. And so now, sure enough, like when Liam, he doesn't throw as many tantrums as he used to, but when he does throw one now, like he sticks to his guns, right? Like it's my way or no way, right? And so, so me and Allie, we've been sticking to our guns too. So the other day, we picked him up from preschool, and we stopped by Chipotle on the way home to get dinner. We're in there eating, me, Allie, Brody, we eat all of our food, and Liam's just like, he's excited because we're inside the restaurant, there's people, and he's getting distracted. He's excited because, he's out of school, and he's not eating. And we told him, we're like, hey,
everything but the food.
Right,
is
right. So we told him, we're like, hey, man, if you eat your food, eat your quesadilla, like, we'll go to the park afterwards.
Sweet.
Okay. And he still keeps jacking around. He's not eating. And finally, like, we're like, all right, if you don't eat, we're going to go to the park. Brody's going to go to the park and play, and you're going to sit in the car. And so he gets upset about that, and he still won't eat though. And so we get in the car, we grab his quesadilla, we go to the park, and Allie, we pull in, and Liam's like, "Oh, park!" And we're like, "Nope, you got to eat your quesadilla before you get out of the car, right?" and so he starts losing it. So Allie looks at me, and she's like, "You want me to stay in here with him, or you want to stay in here with him?" And I'm like, well, babe, I got a cast on my foot, so the one thing I can do good is sit in a chair
right here.
And so her and Brody get out, they play, and he's losing it, man.
Sure.
He's upset. And
Just screaming his brains out in the backseat.
Screaming his brains out, and I'm like, dude, all you got to do is eat your quesadilla. We'll get out. We'll go play. All you got to do. I'm not going to eat it. And we're going back and forth. Finally, 20 minutes later, I talked him into eating the quesadilla.
Way to go, Dad.
And he ate it, and then he got out, and he got to go play, and he was super happy. But, man, from Chipotle till there's 20 minutes in the parking lot of the park, he was ticked. But
I think that's a good lesson. There's a good lesson to be drawn
Right.
from that.
Yeah.
That like you got to stick to your guns, particularly as they get a little older and they're starting to do exactly what you said,
Yeah.
trying to test you a little bit.
Yeah, so I think it was a good life lesson for Liam. So now, I mean, a lot of times now, if we like threaten something like that, like, hey, you got to do this or else we're not doing that. He's more likely to do it now.
That goes back to that conversation we had with Terrence the other day, where it was like, listen, you're going to have a choice.
Yeah,
you can
consequences,
choose
yeah,
not to
yeah.
do this thing, but you're not going to get this other thing that you want to do.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
What about you? What'd you deal with? Any tantrums lately with
3
your kids?
kids,
You
you
got
surely
3
got
of them.
Yep. But you're right. The 3, they love their tantrums. They say terrible twos, but I feel like it comes out when they're 3
Yeah.
a lot of times.
I feel like more the attitude is
You
coming
guys
out.
are,
man,
my
he gets
daughter's not quite
sassy.
2 yet. You guys are giving me really huge, like, I'm really excited about what's to come, let me tell you.
You're hitting the best years.
Oh, I'm
Like,
loving
the
it, man.
The fun is ahead of you.
Oh, yeah. Which is
the
awesome.
work is, a lot of it's behind you.
Yeah, but we've been having a blast lately, so I can't even imagine how much more it's going to get. I'm excited.
Yep. So I've been thinking about tantrums and trying to focus on one that would maybe stand out. My wife deals with most of the tantrums, but we just happen. You ever find that when your kids are more tired, like the tantrums just come out and they're just explosive. They're on
Yep.
like level 10. You're like, man, if you would have just had a nap, we wouldn't even be having
Right.
this issue. All right. So my son had his fun run at school today. So they're raising money for, I don't know, new technology or something. So we skipped nap. Mila, our 3-year-old, skipped nap, and we went to the fun run. And we're like, all right, we'll probably pay for this later because
Right.
we can see her. She's like sitting on the floor, leaning against us as we're watching Cannon
Heavy
run in
eyes.
circles 35 times or whatever it is.
Oh, my gosh.
So we're like, okay, we get home, and she's having some quiet time, and you could tell like she's super fatigued because she's just everything seems to be an issue. So we opened the pool a few weeks ago, and the kids wanted to swim, no problem. She's 3, so she still has to have a floaty. And the pool's, I mean, it's cold out today. It's not
Sure.
hot, and
Right.
so they opt. We're gonna go in the hot tub now. So then they've moved over, they've shifted, and my Aspen and my wife are gone, and I'm just kind of managing them. And Mila has to get in the hot tub, no problem. Keeps her floaties on. She can stand, and the water's up to, she's pretty tall, so it's up to her chest or whatever. But she likes her floaties, no problem. All right, where are your floaties? 2 minutes later, I want my floaties off. Okay, we can take the floaties off. Not a big deal. I take them off, throw them out. Right, we're done with the floaties.
Yeah, you're welcome. I took them off for you.
This is
There's
what you
a
wanted.
limited time in the hot tub anyway. You kids get too hot. We need to get out. Nope. 5 minutes later, I want my floaties. And like you, in the same scenario, you're a captive audience. You're in there with them. Like you're in the car,
Yeah.
and it is so loud. It's like ear piercing. And they're throwing these tantrums. And, oh, man. It is. So that was just today.
Just
That's
getting,
Oh,
just
my
getting
God.
yelled at in the face.
Come
Nothing
on,
more
like-
fun, right?
Like you wanted to take it off. We're not putting it back on. And good for you to stick to your guns. And that's the toughest thing.
Oh, it's so hard.
man. You just want to like be done with the yelling and the crying.
Exactly. You're like,
Well, I've said this a couple of times, but I truly think that I am way more patient than I thought I was, and I didn't find that out until I had a kid.
Yeah.
Because I was convinced I had zero patience until Elsie came around. I was like,
Yes.
oh, well, I guess you do have some patience. It's just
Yeah.
for certain things.
yeah, and it grows too because me and Allie was talking about that when we was talking about that tantrum I was talking about earlier. Is we were both like, you know what? Neither one of us really got upset or was mad because
Yeah.
we're just like, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
We're used to it at this point, and then
We
He'll-
know what's got to be done. So
he'll
we're just
do
gonna go
he'll
it.
do what he needs to do if he wants
Yeah.
to go do his thing. So
That's funny.
so yeah, Isaac, you said you got 3 kids, 1 on the way. So I think you're
That's so many kids, man.
yeah, that's what I was just
Oh my
thinking. I was
gosh.
like,
That's a lot.
you
4
have the
kids.
most
It's a
kids out
circus.
of any dad that we've
He
had
will be
on the episode or
either
on the, podcast, right?
either the most or tied for the most. I
Yeah.
think it is the most. 4 is the most. We've had
Yeah.
3. You're right. Yeah.
So-
honored.
Congratulations.
I'm
Way to go.
honored. Hey, I am honored.
You got
This
all
is
kinds
great.
of
Prolific
experience,
dad.
all
Man.
kinds of experience here, and you probably got some good dad hacks for us. So
So much experience.
so
we need to
I'm
lean
gonna-
on you here.
yeah, I want to ask you for a good dad hack here in a minute, but first I'll ask Bryant see what he's got for us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, This one comes straight from some social media resource. I don't know which
Mine
one
does
it
too.
is.
That's funny.
Let's hope it's not the same one. Derek and I have done this a
gosh.
couple of times. I watched a video of just a guy, basically just sitting there talking to the camera, and he was talking about introducing his kids to the world as opposed to shaping the world around them to the kids. In that, like, he and his family, they don't just do kid-focused activities. They include their kids in their day-to-day activities. They bring them into their world.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
Saturday mornings, it's not cartoons and then the park and then watching Miss Rachel and then playing with balloons every single Saturday. That's awesome to do those kind of things with your
Right.
kids, but if all you do is shape the world around your kids to be kid stuff, they'll never not be a kid, kind of. And so this guy was talking about how they include their kids in Saturday morning errands. Hey, we're going to Costco. It's what we do on Saturday mornings. We're going to get our stuff for the week. We're just going to go do that. Or, hey, you know what? We're going to go sit down in a restaurant, and we're going to learn how to sit down in a restaurant. And we're going to start off not as nice, and then we'll work our way up to the nice restaurants. But we're going to include our kids in our, so that they can kind of get a realistic understanding of what life is like. Not just kid life. And I just thought that was kind of eye-opening just to put it that way, that we're definitely going to try to introduce. I mean, we're kind of already doing that with Elsie, where we basically out of a necessity, where she's going to a lot of the places we go just because we got stuff to do, and it's not like we're going to leave her at home.
Right.
So, but I just kind of like that idea of being intentional about introducing her to what we're doing,
Yep.
and the just the normal day-to-day adult stuff that we deal with.
Yeah.
Because if she can be comfortable with it at 2 and 3 years old, kind of like what you guys are talking about, it's going to set her up for later in life where it won't be that big a deal to go to the grocery store and sit with mom while we're doing grocery shopping, if that happens, or something like that.
Yeah, and I think the key word there that you said is being intentional about it.
Yeah.
Because, I catch myself doing this often. It's like, oh, it'd be easier if I just left the boys home with Allie, and I'll go do this real quick because it'll be quicker and easier. But I think including them in this stuff, whatever it is you're doing, if it's going shopping or working on something, whatever it is, including them. So they learn stuff that way, but then two, like you said, they learn, all about the world and all that good stuff.
So this house, I haven't quite bucked up and gotten the riding mower yet, so I still push this yard, and it's plenty of yard. Yeah. But Else still wants to, because Dad's out there mowing, she wants to be mowing. So we bought her a little plastic mower.
Yeah.
And so I'm pushing the yard, and she's out in the driveway pushing the driveway.
Good.
And so we're just including our daughter in this.
concrete.
Exactly, just clipping those concretes and knocking that down. What about you?
Yeah.
Hey, and what we didn't do? We didn't decide about, we didn't talk about the introduction for
Dad hack alert!
that. There we go.
Yeah.
We have a silly
slackers.
little audio thing that we play for dad hacks.
Yep.
So
Slackers.
now we got it.
Gosh,
what do you
my-
got,
my
DC?
bad.
What kind of dad hack
Well,
do
it's
you
funny.
have?
I saw a video as well online that is different.
Was
than
it the
yours.
same
It
one?
was different than yours.
Okay, good.
But I was like,
We've done that twice
Yeah,
now.
I was just-
brought the same thing to the episode.
yeah, I was scrolling and I saw this and I'm like, dude, that is a great idea. I haven't been able to implement it yet, but I'm like, next time this happens, I totally am. So it was this dad couldn't get his kid to take medicine, drink his medicine, right, because he's sick. So it was what he did. He took Capri Sun, poked the straw through the Capri Sun into the cup of medicine, showed his kid the Capri Sun side.
That's hysterical.
And he's like,
Next level.
buddy, you want
Next
some
level.
Capri Sun? And so he drinks out of the straw, which drinks the medicine. And then when the medicine's all gone, he puts the
Pull it up
straw
just a little bit.
into the Capri Sun. He's like, yeah, keep drinking. He's like, it gets better. And so his son just takes his medicine that way, and then he starts drinking Capri Sun.
Then washes it
and-
down with some
and
tropical
I'm
cooler.
I'm like, that is genius. Like,
Yeah.
how have I not thought of that before? So yeah, I'm definitely stealing that. I don't remember who posted that or
That's
what. But I'm
funny. I like that a lot.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
one.
But yeah, Isaac, what about you? You had some time to think about it. What do you got?
Probably the dad hack I'm most proud of, and dads when they get into like selfish mode, they can come up with like really good ideas. So the one I got is
Selfish mode.
I got color specific golf balls, and
Okay.
so we have a few acres, and so if I'm in charge of the kids, and I want them to be outside, I want them to be playing, and I want to work on my golf game at the same time and not have to entertain them. Plus, they can get their exercise. So we make a game out of it. Camden gets a certain amount of points because he's 4 times faster than the girls combined, and then the girls get a certain amount of points. And so I'll hit the golf balls, and then however many they come back to me, that's how many points I get. And we do that for hours. And then
Built-in driving range, baby.
And when it gets dark, I have light up ones now too. And so we make a full day.
Who needs a picker when you have 3 kids?
Yeah,
100%.
he's got 3 of them and about to have a 4th.
Yep.
Oh my God,
dude, I love that.
I'm stealing that because we have enough room to hit golf balls in the backyard, and I'm definitely stealing that with Elle. It's like, hey, go get these golf balls, go.
Good.
Oh, that's great.
That's clutch. I like that one, man. That's awesome. Shoot.
It's always fun to find.
So has your golf game got significantly better since you got?
Still real bad. No, still real bad. So we've already kind of hinted at it. You've got 3 kids, and you're relatively young to have 3 kids and another one on the way, for that matter. You hinted at least in some of the write-ups and some of our conversations ahead of time, that you had some philosophies on when you should have kids and what you should do when you have them. Can you talk a little bit about like when you guys had kids and kind of what your thoughts were on that? And I really liked the phrase, and you wrote it out, have kids early and often while you're young. And I really liked that. I just hoped you could kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah. I had a mentor years ago, I guess. He was super successful in business, and I picked his brain quite often, and we would just periodically go to lunches and spend time together. And he was more really he was more of a family man, and just business came naturally to him, and he had developed success in that way. But he would tell us right soon after we got married, or probably even before, he knew my wife and just us as a family, and he'd always encourage us, hey, have kids early and often. He loved kids. Have them young. Have them when you're poor, because you have the energy and the time to spend with them. And kids aren't into, when they're young, they don't care about money or accolades. They want you to play with them in the yard. They want you to do silly stuff with them.
Sure.
And I think when you have the time and the energy, it's like these kids, they demand an abundance of energy.
Dude, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
So that was, we were married just 3 years. My wife and I will have our 10-year anniversary this summer.
That's great.
After we had kids. And I was doing the math the other day. Cannon, he'll graduate, or he'll be in college when I'm 43 years old. So, hopefully we'll have grandkids young too. And if you ask my dad, he'll say, I love my kids, but grandkids are way better.
Oh yeah.
My parents wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're fast tracking it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that. Well, it was funny because I've got a couple of friends that were straight out of college, did the same deal y'all did. They're on kid number 4. They're my age, and they're pretty much in the same spot you are. They've got 4 on the ground right now, and they would say the same thing, that they had so much excitement and energy, and when they were in their early 20s, and they were just ready to have kids, and it was so ready. Whereas you got married at 22. If my math is right, if it's been 10 years, 20 to 22.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
I was a real pile of crap at 22 years old. So
all right. Yeah.
I was. So it is interesting to see how it's different from household to household and parenting couple to parenting couple, because 22-year-old Bryant was not prepared for kids.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now. Now, would I love to be able to be the young dad like you're talking about, where it's like, holy crap, I'm 45 years old and my kid's getting ready to graduate from college? Yeah, that sounds awesome. But also in the back of my head, 22-year-old Bryant was not ready for kids. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, and I like what you hit on there too with kids don't care about stuff. They care about your attention, right? Because I think a lot of parents get caught up in that, and I know me and Allie did. Like whenever we were moving from our old house to our new house, and we was remodeling it, and we was living in the basement, so a lot of their stuff, except for just a few toys, was packed up.
Yep.
They didn't care that they only had 3 or 4 toys. All they cared about was, hey, were you there? Were you playing with me?
Yep.
And so I think as parents, we get caught up a lot, and we're like, oh, my kid needs this to keep them entertained. My kid needs that. And it's like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
No.
They just need you there. and have a good time. Get on their level, play with them. Yeah. So I like that you said that.
Well, think about it. At Brody's age, you can get him gifts at Christmas. He'll probably spend time playing with the box.
Right.
They don't
Literally,
care. They would play with
today
the box.
we have like a toy chest in our living room. Boys threw all the toys out of the toy chest, climbed inside of it, and just wanted to sit in there, was giggling. Like, yeah, who cares? And plus, on top of that, too, you mentioned grandparents. Yeah. Grandparents are going to get them all the toys and crap that they need. Yeah. You don't really need to get them anything like that as parents.
Liv and I are having this exact conversation right now. So what should be our dining room upstairs is Elsie's playroom, and it's just chock full of all the toys and little.
Still up there?
I've got a teepee in there. I've got a shelving wall unit just full of books and full of little toys, and now it's starting to be Barbie stuff, and it's just all of the, pardon my French, but all of the shit is just in there. Yeah. And in the back of my head, I'm going, she's got all the toys she will ever need. Yeah. I want to make sure we continue to get more and more books and more advanced books, because we're getting to the point now where it's like, we've read a lot of these books, and they're little baby books, and we got to move on, because these little baby books. One, Dad's getting real tired of reading little tiny baby books, but also Clifford's a little easier to read than some of the "This is a cat" books. But Elsie will go in there, and she will dump out the toys, and then just carry around the tote that the toys are in.
Right.
Same thought process. Yep. She doesn't care about the toys. And so it's trying to figure out that happy balance of do we hide, just get rid of all of it?
Yeah.
Do we just go hide it all? And leave the little playhouse and leave the little teepee and leave the stuffed animals or something, but then get rid of the rest of it. Yeah. Just let's go hang out with our kid and forget the toys and all that. Go along with it.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because actually just, I don't know, it was probably a couple weeks ago.
Excuse me.
Allie did this whenever I was at work. She actually put away probably half to 2/3 of the toys, just boxed them up, put them in a closet, and never noticed. Boys never noticed. They never where's this toy at? Again, they don't care about that stuff.
They're still too young. I bet Cannon's getting to the point where he's got a couple. Maybe does he have some G.I. Joes or guys or something that he's into? Or?
Yeah, he has some favorite toys, but his Cannon's love language is quality time. So he just wants to do stuff with you.
Be right next to me.
And it's good and bad in the same sense, because you're like, dude, I cannot spend 8 hours with you after work. Your sisters and your mom need a little bit of time too.
I need a split second too.
Oh my goodness. He'll just consume it.
That's awesome. Well, Isaac, you was talking about what you do for a living as a real estate investor. So, so I'm sure, you go and probably look at a lot of properties, look at a lot of homes whenever you're thinking about purchasing them as investment properties. And so, do you I've heard of some guys doing this, take your kids with you to try to teach them how the business works, how you do business. How's that work with you? What are you trying to teach your kids?
Yeah. I haven't taken them with me just yet, although we just had career day at school, and so he's just,
that's the dream, right?
Yeah,
that's the stereotypical dad thing.
Yeah.
My dad came and talked about what he did. Oh, God, I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's so cool. I love that.
It was really fun. I think a lot of dads shy away from it, but I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's bring prizes for questions and made it really fun for him.
That's a good idea.
Stopped at Dollar General, and he picked out Hot Wheels for all of his buddies, and then he wrote his name on them. We were making sure everybody did a question, and then for the girls, they brought jump ropes and no names. You probably couldn't remember their names, honestly, but
too busy hanging out with the bros.
Yeah, it's totally true. It's a great age, and so I haven't taken them to buy any properties or to look at anything, but around the house, we try to just get them at this age, just kind of understanding money principles, savings or A plus B equals C. So Cannon, it's springtime. Him and Aspen will hop on the side by side, and we will go load up the little limbs that have fallen over winter and make a big brush pile, and just doing those small acts, or putting mulch around the trees, or helping pull weeds in the landscaping. Those small acts will pay them a few dollars or even quarters. And the other day, they helped Larissa clean out their van. So it's just helping them learn, work, you have to work to have this living. Like this doesn't just fall from. This isn't manna. This doesn't just come from above. Like Dad works to provide these things for you, and on the flip side of that, like we make sure our church does a really good job of like implementing ways for the kids to give back to the church, and so they have like they send them home with these little, I think they're little canteens, and they have a little spot where you can put
little
like
piggy bank.
Quarters in, and then like once a month they have like a day where you can bring it, and so the kids do that, and they're really excited to bring in their little canteen full of coins. But so just tithing and giving back to the church, and so those are some of the principles we've tried to instill in them.
Are you guys doing any kind of like? I think I listened to, it was a CEO of like Xerox or something talking about how he introduced taxes and income and all this stuff to his kids, but he was doing it on like a way micro scale. Kind of like what you're talking about with quarters, where it's like, okay, so you did this job, so you're going to get 25 quarters. And now you got to put 5 of those quarters away for savings, because you got to save your 20% over here. And then you're going to be, this much goes to taxes, and so Dad takes that back. And that's the tax man. Dad tax, taking that back. And then the rest of that is for you for spending. Or are you going to spend it, or are you going to save more? And so I was just trying to teach some of those like saving and spending and understanding the value of money, because that's certainly one thing that my parents did all right with, but I had to learn. I learned more in college on how to manage money than I ever did as a kid. And not to like talk crap on the way my parents did it. My parents were very generous and took care of us, but I certainly did not quite understand the value of a dollar until I was living on my own. And got bit hard by the like 18-year-old going to college, and then all of a sudden I'm
hey,
paying
I want
for
food,
every
but
meal.
I spent it all on beer.
Exactly. Well, it was water. I was buying lots of waters. But yeah, like just all of the money I had saved over high school, and just because I'd had a job since I was 15. But like all the money I had saved over high school, I pretty much spent it my freshman year of college, and it was oh, well, I guess you probably better go get a job because all the money's gone, pal. And so I love that you're teaching your kids that early to try and instill that in them so they don't learn that when they're 19 years old.
Right.
We haven't hit on the taxes just yet, but maybe we do.
Once he hits 7.
We need to implement that. We do really stress generosity.
Cool.
So if we're on a trip sometime, if they want to get a souvenir, he'll either bring his money sometimes, or a lot of times, like Mila, she's 3. She hasn't really built up a lot of piggy bank, but like we'll be like, hey, like Mila doesn't have much. If you thought you wanted to like maybe get her a stuffy too, and then like he's all about that, and
That's
like
cool.
So hyped to do it.
That's
Good.
cool.
Yeah, he's just instilling generosity into him too.
That's cool. Are you guys doing anything like that with your kids? Because we've not actually talked about this before.
Not like the money part yet, but it made me.
It's still early.
Yeah. But it made me think of like whenever I was little, and I think the key there with kids is teaching them, by example and like with tangible things like you're doing, like quarters, dollars, like that stuff. Because I remember as a kid growing up, my parents didn't really do it so much with money, but I remember the things that I remember that my dad taught me wasn't necessarily, what he would say. It was more like, I grew up on a farm, so like we'd learn to like, go work on tractors or equipment or go fix stuff. And so now that relates to, I consider myself fairly handy around like the house or fixing stuff or things like that.
You mow your own rentals yards.
Yeah.
Because you're a guy who is a hands-on guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
but this season.
Well, this season is a little different can of worms. Speaking of
this
which, when
year-
do I get to sign your cast?
this
I would
year,
really like to. Sorry,
Yeah, this year I mow my own yard, luckily, but not. We'll get back to it. But no, I just
Time for the riding mower.
Exactly right. I've
If it
watched
wasn't
him
for lighting-
pull a riding mower into the back of his pickup truck, and it's the most terrifying thing in the world. Just for the record, it's
Yeah, I'm not ballsy enough to do it with a cast.
God, so scary.
Seems dangerous.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's what sticks out to me the most, growing up, and that's what, and like I was saying earlier, taking the kids to do stuff with you, even when it's not the most convenient. That's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that's what I want to do with the boys. If it's, mowing the yard. Like if we go over to the rentals, mow a yard. Well, hey, okay, well you're going to be weed eating the yard while I'm mowing. And yeah, like you were saying, like pay them, $5, whatever it is that you pay them.
Yeah.
And then that builds up. Okay, now you can go get something or be generous with it or something.
They can be small, but they take ownership of it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
That's pretty fun. I really like that thought process. What else are you teaching your kids? What else are you introducing them to? I know you're a sports guy, and so I want to know. Yeah. I want to know your philosophy, because this is kind of a common theme on the show. Yeah. We've got one college athlete and one not college athlete as hosts of this show, and so we've had a lot of our buds on that have a variety of levels of sporting, and so I want to know kind of like
activities
or activities in general. Actually, that's a really good point, because we've talked about hunting, we've talked about fishing. Like, what are you teaching your kids? What are you introducing them to? What are you excited about for these kids to get involved with?
Yep. I'm a big fan of like lifelong sports. So I want to be.
Love that, man. I love that.
I want to be like instrumental in my kids' life for years to come, even after they're out of my house. So I really enjoy just golf, and you guys being in business can understand the impact that you can, or the conversations you can have when you spend 4 hours in a golf cart with somebody.
Right.
And even just, I've experienced it with my own kids. We'll just go golfing, and we don't do 18 holes. We get 9 holes in, and we hit up the cart girl 3 times, and
eat all the snacks.
More goldfish, please.
All the snacks, making it super fun. I started off poorly. I was starting the kids at the red tee boxes, and by the time they got to the green, they're so burnt out on the 3rd hole. So now that little cart exits here. Carts, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's where they start.
Carts.
They start there.
Every time you see a cart sign, that's where they start.
I like
that.
Yep. They start there. They got par 6. Everything's par 6. And
so we're keeping score. Good for you. Yeah.
100%.
I love that.
And they've learned now they get relief from bunkers, which is
they get relief.
They get relief.
Can I have relief from bunkers, please, Isaac? Because I don't want to play out of them either.
With you?
He just lines it up, hits his driver into the bunker, and then he putts 5 times, and then he gets a reward. So like he gets a Starburst, or he picks from this bag of candy.
Yeah. That's cool.
I learned that from a friend that had gone through the same thing, and he wanted to get his son to start it early and playing and it's all about making it fun.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I think that's really important too, because Dad started me playing golf when I was a little kid, really young, and I did golf lessons and I did some competitive stuff, but this will come as a huge surprise to you, I was a social butterfly as a kid, and I'm still a giant, loud, obnoxious butterfly in my 30s.
Beautiful butterfly.
But yeah, that too. Fat. But I didn't like golf because it was so solitary. Especially in competition. I was standing out there in a fairway by myself.
I can see it. Yep.
And I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to play baseball. Turns out I sucked at that too. So it wasn't any good. I should have stuck with golf. But I'm interested to hear, like, I like the reward side of it, the keeping it fun side of it, so that it's not getting shoved down their throat.
Yep.
And it's, I don't know, like I really wish that I would have had, well, hindsight being what it is, I really wish I would have stuck with golf.
Yep.
Right.
Because it's the only thing I play now. I mean, I can't play football anymore, and I sucked at baseball and everything else that was social.
Basketball.
And so,
basketball just
right.
DC's not allowed to play basketball anymore.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wish that I would have stuck with golf, because I would have been way better. And frankly, I would like to be better. Do I really care? No.
Right.
It's all
It's all
right. Exactly.
I
It's more
can
hanging
play
out buddies.
it well enough that I can go have fun, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I do like, though, that mentality of let's just keep it fun.
But wouldn't it be fun if you were like a single handicap?
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it'd be
what I was
freaking
gonna
sweet.
When that day comes,
If you had started when you were really young and just played through high school,
right?
Man.
If you're just natural, like at that point.
Well, we've got a couple of guys in our circle that have been playing since they were little kids, or they're like just natural freak athletes and picked it up late, but are still really good. And it's like, I want to flip you the bird right now. Yeah, that's not fair at all. It's like guys just suck and can't hit it out of my own shadow sometimes.
Great for tournaments, those guys. Great for tournaments.
Yeah.
What about, I remember back in the day, before kids, before marriage, you and your brother were like big hunters, like really into hunting. Are you doing any of that with the kiddos?
Yeah, we do more fishing than we do hunting.
Okay.
I think we're going to start hunting probably this fall.
Okay.
Camden is specifically very into fishing.
Really?
That is his favorite pastime. And
Fun.
we have a friend, you guys probably know him, so I won't mention his name because he has a pond that you can go and you can catch fish every other cast.
Sweet.
And it is like heaven on earth for that little boy.
heck
Yeah, that's great.
That's the hardest part about fishing as a little kid is if I'm not catching anything. Like,
Right.
what the
Boring.
It's catching. It's not fishing. It
Right.
is just
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to
phenomenal.
put it. Yes.
Yes, it is good. And
I really like
there's
that
nothing-
mentality. I might have been into fishing as a kid if I could have done fishing that way
Catching.
because I hated it when I was a kid.
Nothing better. Yeah,
Too
so
boring. Oh.
I'm sitting a bobber like that. Okay, it's been an hour. We haven't
Right?
caught
Exactly.
anything. So I think he's just been spoiled in that manner. But we actually dug out a pond at our house.
Did you really?
And
Nice.
stocked it
Stock
with
it?
fish. So
Sweet.
we're optimistic that we have some, our own fish here someday.
Nice.
What'd you guys stock it with? I'm just,
Bass and minnows and red ears.
I don't know
ears.
red ears. Interesting.
Like little panfish, kind of like a
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
They don't have red ears, Bryant, if you're wondering.
I didn't know fish had ears.
Oh, man.
What about what about like funny stories? Again, that's kind of another reoccurring thing. Every dad seems to have something that their kids have done or a handful of
Especially
like
with little kids.
especially I mean, God, you had at one point you had 3 under 3, right?
Yeah.
Or like dang close.
Yep.
That's
Like,
insane.
surely you've got some wild or like fun stories. Is
Yeah.
there anything that you really want to tell? Because we
Yeah.
always, this is my favorite part. Like I love
yeah.
just tell me some funny stories.
Okay.
Go.
You were just talking. Your wife is. You guys are working on peeing outside or finding the appropriate spot to pee.
The
Right.
country
Right,
pee,
right,
baby.
Yeah, the country. Yeah, you grew up in the country. Like, hey, there's a tree. You're a little boy.
Right.
That's just what you do.
Yeah. Or a 34-year-old man.
Yeah. As all of our wives will say, you don't
Stop
phase
peeing in
out.
the
You
yard.
don't phase out of it. Okay, so actually, it reminded me when you said that we just had a sitter this week, and she comes to us. I was like, hey, you always ask them, how did it go? Oh, good. And this girl, she's only like 15, and there's all sisters.
Oh,
and
gosh.
and she goes,
Didn't quite understand canon then.
Cannon showed me the peeing tree, and I said, I didn't even know we had one designated, but I'm sure it's gonna die now. Anyway, on that story, you said it, so it made me think of it. We were staying at a resort in Florida, and you know how they like build like pools around like the vegetation, and they put palm trees kind of like in the middle. Anyways, so
Oh my God, I love this.
were-
I love where this is going.
I was sitting there in the hot tub, which is kind of like in the center portion of the pool, and they had that that solo palm tree was built around a like little island of vegetation or landscaping. Anyways, my son is running over. And I'm talking to the person. I didn't, you just make friends on trips.
Sure.
Like,
Just talking to
where
somebody.
are you from? Anyways, she says, "Is that your son?" I turn around. Cannon in front of the whole pool is just going ahead and watering this palm tree, just making sure it's at its. Anyway,
He was thirsty, Dad.
yeah, like I'm like, dude, come on. And at that point, it wasn't like it was. Pants were at the ankles,
right.
and like, Cannon, come on.
God.
So I mean, kids keep you humble.
Oh, dude.
That's the truth.
That's my biggest fear now that we've taught Liam how to pee outside is like we're going to go to the park or something and I'm going to look back and he's just going to be drawers dropped and all these parents are like, dude, get your kid.
For the record,
can happen.
that's also one of my favorite ways to embarrass my friends is if like we're all walking together and it's like, God, we got to take a leak and like 3 or 4 of us go in there. I'll drop to my ankles.
For sure,
I'll
you
drop
have
my
to.
pants to my ankles
You
and
have
stand
to.
there at the urinal just to bother them. It's my favorite game in the world. So at 30-something years later,
Some
you
of
can
us
still
don't
bother.
mature.
You can still bother your
You
friends.
don't grow out of it. You don't grow out of it. Let's see another one. We had we had taken a trip here recently. I feel like sometimes when you spend multiple days with your kids, you like, I don't know if you like, you just, the stories kind of come out. It's not just, you're not just a daily routine. You're just doing like everything as a family. It's a family centered.
Sure.
So we were, I said, hey, we got to get sunscreen on. The day before, we had applied all the sunscreen. We went to the Bahamas, spring break. This was a few months ago. And the day one, we had lathered the kids up because we'd just been, white from all winter long. Anyways, I made the mistake of putting all sunscreen on, but with socks and shoes on myself. So,
Oh, buddy.
got down to the pool, didn't think anything of it. We're going on a walk on the beach. We're gonna have fun. Anyway, the next day, my feet are purple and just blistered up.
Oh no.
Okay, so the kids love that. But the
Dad's
following
hurt.
day,
It's hilarious.
yeah,
right?
yeah. The following day, I said, okay, bring me your sunscreen. I'll put it on you. And they're kind of getting into that prankster phase. And so they're like, all right, so let's go get the sunscreen. So my son notices that the sunscreen looks a lot like the toothpaste. And so unbeknownst to me, he puts the sunscreen in the back of his shorts. And he runs out to me. All right, Dad, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and put the sunscreen on me. I popped the lid and squirted it in my hand just to realize it was the toothpaste.
Oh, so you didn't even catch it.
Didn't catch it. He's on the ground.
I love that.
rolling. Pulls out the sunscreen. Here you go, Dad.
You gotcha.
Yeah, it's good.
Dude.
When kids get their own sense of humor,
Yes.
I cannot
they
wait.
become so fun.
I
Yeah.
cannot
Yep.
wait.
I
was gonna say Liam's old enough. He's starting to get
hit
there.
that stage where like he'll do something and then he'll giggle. Like nothing to that level yet.
Yeah.
But you can tell like his little mind's working.
yeah.
And
It's
dude,
coming.
it's so funny. He has that ornery giggle when he does some stuff, and you're
whippersnappers.
like, yes.
I'm
Like,
also
I can't wait.
terrified because I can't take anything seriously, and I am convinced my poor daughter is going to be worse than I am because she's a combination of my wife and I. My wife is also not a serious person, and so she's way more serious than I am. But we're still both children in our 30s, so that's.
She'll have a good sense of humor then.
God, I hope.
They have to,
Or
right?
she's going to be the straightest, straight and narrow kid there ever was,
Yep,
and it's just going to be hysterical because her mom and I are just going to be bothering her the entire time.
Yeah.
What about? I think you mentioned another story earlier about whipping.
Yeah. No.
So please
Actually,
elaborate.
Yeah,
'cause I'm
Eric
very
read
curious.
this,
No,
and I
no.
was like, what?
No, I had asked Larissa. I said, "Hey, I need to come up with some good, funny stories." And she thought, I mean, she has so many more than me.
Oh,
She's
sure.
she's a stay-at-home. She spends all of her time with kids, and that's all she ever wanted to do. Like I tell
That's
everybody,
awesome, though.
she totally hit her stride when she became a mom. She just loves our kids and
That's
pours into them all day long. Anyways, so Mila, she's a big personality. She's totally full of humor. Anyways, so she, very independent, and she had gone to the bathroom, and so she had called in to be wiped, and she said, "Mom," from the other room, you know how they do, "Mom, wipe me." And you're like, okay. So you walk over there. This is Larissa telling the story. She walks into the bathroom, looks at our daughter. We had these little stools made so that they can get on the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at her daughter's butt's in the air, looks at the wall, and there is poop smeared on the wall. Anyway, long story short, Larissa got it all cleaned up, but
So did she wipe herself on the wall, or was it an explosive poop on the wall?
What?
on the wall. Next level. This is what you have to look forward
Dang,
to.
okay, so I misread that then. She wiped,
Wiping as
not
opposed
whipped.
to whipping.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's great.
See, when we read that, because it was full disclosure, it was on that questionnaire. We read whipping.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like she wanted like a spanking, but also didn't. She wanted you to hit the wall next to her or
Right,
something.
right.
No, it was that she explosively shat on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so great.
Dude.
Early
That's
IBS, I
hilarious.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Maybe it's indicative of her later life.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we're like we're dipping our toe into potty training.
Yeah.
Like we're just dipping our toe. And so we've got the little freaking toilet that just follows us around all over the house.
Does it go in the car with
Been
you?
there.
No, not quite.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Yeah,
quite.
we've had that.
Not quite, but it's freaking close.
Squatty potty.
And at this point, it's other than mommy and daddy, Elsie's favorite word is now poop, 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 which is great. Except that now I never know if she actually needs to go to the bathroom or not, or if she's just saying poop,
Yep.
poop,
That's the word.
poop, and it's more often than not that you can see her sprinting away from mom, butt naked with a balloon animal in her hand or something, just sprinting down the hallway, running away from mom because she's jumped up off the toilet and run away from mom out of the little bathroom.
Yeah.
And we've got all the books.
Yep.
And we've got the little sticker chart.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put stickers on the side of your potty. Oh my gosh, good for you! You tried real hard.
Yep.
It takes time. Be patient.
Boys.
Yeah.
Speaking of patience, you got any coaching for me? Because you've done this a couple of times, I assume now, and I need all the coaching I can get.
We've done it a couple of times. I don't have any advice. I'm kind of disconnected from that a lot of times. But I will say,
My wife is very good at it. I am not.
I would say, on the upshot, you have a girl, and I would
Sure.
say they can learn,
Directionally, it's a little different can of worms.
and they just care. Boys don't care.
No.
They're fine being dirty and like.
I can, yeah. As a
Oh, yeah.
34-year-old, I can appreciate that thought process.
With Liam, he's potty trained now, but he still doesn't know the difference between when he has to fart and when he has to poop.
Yep.
And so he all the time he's like, I gotta go poop. You know, I need help. I need to go poop. And so we go on the potty. And the funniest thing, dude, he'll sit on the potty and just rip it. I mean, like a grown man, rip it. And he giggles now. He thinks
like,
farts are funny.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
But the best part is he'll look at me and he'll be like, Dad, my booty's rowdy.
Rowdy. This kid is wild.
He's
I
like
love it.
full
That's
of one-liners like that.
Love it.
Ooh, my booty
Yeah,
hurts.
that was the thing. Like when we was teaching him potty training, and he had to go poop. For the longest time, he'd be like, when he had to go poop, he'd be like, "Ooh, my booty hurts," and so we knew that
the
was
trigger.
That was his poop cue.
Hysterical.
Like, no, I gotta go poop.
Freaking
And he would do the ooh in front of it every single time, and we're like, I mean, you can't help but laugh.
Oh man, that is
Like,
hilarious.
Yeah,
Where do you
so-
feel like you heard it? Like where did he like learn
That was
this
the
stuff?
thing. That was
You're
the thing. Or
like,
like,
I
my
don't know.
booty's
I haven't
rowdy. Like,
said
I've
that.
never said that before in my life.
Bob.
Yeah, for
Grandpa.
sure.
Grandpa
Yeah.
for sure.
Grandpa said rowdy. That's so funny.
And I'm just like, yeah, where'd you pick that stuff up, man?
That's the only thing. So Elsie, you were talking earlier about like developing sense of humor and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only thing Elsie finds funny at this point are farts. And so she's a woman after my own heart. At 2 years old, Liv and I will both go, Dad'll fart because let's be honest, Dad's gonna fart. And I'll look at Elsie and go, Elsie, Merle tooted. And she'll look at me and go, nuh-uh. Daddy tooted. And so then we just go back and forth at each other. Elsie Merle tooted. Elsie tooted. And so Liv has gotten in on it. And so Elsie will look at Mom and go, Mommy tooted.
Yep.
It's like, no, sweetheart, I did not. No, that was you. You tooted, little
That's
kid.
good.
That was
love
that was a
She's
little
already
girl.
got the sense of
Mommy
humor.
tooted.
Yeah.
Mommy
Yeah.
tooted.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, kiddo. I cannot wait to be done with the diapers because boys, as you get late, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but as you get late in potty training or late in like your diaper life,
Yeah.
it's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's rank.
It's not.
a good word.
It's
Yeah.
not little baby poops anymore. It's shits.
Yeah.
Like it's real full blown heavy duty poops.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of cleaning poops.
When's her birthday?
Like here in a couple of months, like
Okay.
literally in May. So she'll be 2 in May, and
Yeah.
so it's like, okay,
She is
it's
doing
time.
good. Yeah.
Please no more, because
Yeah.
I'm so tired
Dude,
of
having,
cleaning up those
yeah,
gnarly
having
toots.
one in diapers is phenomenal.
Well, and I also am fully aware that I'm complaining about something when there's only one of them.
Yeah. But it's like,
You've
I mean,
had
it's still
two.
a lot.
You had 3 at one point in diapers, right?
Let's see.
Did you?
No, if you're
Probably
third,
just
the
two.
3-year-old, yeah, so probably just 2.
Yep.
But
one just out of diapers. And
Yeah, one
I mean,
just out of diapers. And
yeah.
good grief. It's time for everybody's favorite part of our episodes. It's time for
What time?
Dad Joke of the Week.
Boom. Well done.
So inevitably, every dad worth his salt and daddom has got to have a dad joke in his back pocket. I'm going to make Derek go first as our local retired basketball player.
I'm not
DC,
ready.
what do you got? He wasn't ready.
not ready. Oh man, no. Well, both of you guys know my wife. You met her several times. Love her to death. Wonderful lady. Super mom. Like I was talking off camera.
She's
here.
picking up all the slack right now, baby.
She is, man. And she's a very confident woman. Doesn't always like to admit when she's wrong.
I got one of those.
And so,
a common theme.
right. And so, and then finally the other day, I'd had enough of it, and I was like, Allie, babe, you just got to embrace your mistakes sometimes,
It's good.
And so she walks over to me and just gives me a big hug.
Oh, that is good.
Nice.
That is
Nice.
really
That's
good.
solid. Yeah, that's solid.
Like, thanks, babe.
Yeah, love you too, sweetheart. Yeah.
And that's a real story?
No.
Oh, God. That would have been so much better.
It's a testament to your storytelling. It's getting so much better.
Right, it is.
I would've thought
Honestly, I should try that on her and see if she does it.
Oh, that's really got to embrace your mistakes, babe. I got you, honey.
That's good.
That's really good. Isaac, what do you got? Do you have a good dad joke or anything in your back pocket?
All right, so does every dad joke just get repeated? Like once a quarter, you say it to your kids? Mine does. I feel like I thought of this before, and I really only have one dad joke.
Okay. Let's
Anytime
hear it.
we're by water, I say, Larissa's probably heard this at least a dozen times.
This month.
Hey, why do scuba divers fall out of the boat when they're getting in the water? Any idea?
I don't know. Why?
Well, if they'll... I love it. I think I said it wrong. Why do they fall backwards into the water? And
Oh, okay.
because
Why?
if they fell forwards, they fall on the boat. Stupid. So stupid.
That's good, though.
The epitome of a
no,
dad
I'm into
joke.
it.
You're like,
This is
yes.
like, yeah, that's kind of funny.
And I love it. Like, kids have such short-term memory. They're probably like, oh, Dad, that's so
Dad just
good."
told the funniest
Yeah.
joke. I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's great.
So, Liv and I, when we first got together, one of our favorite things was to go to the movies. And we used to live over by the Alamo theater. And so
yeah.
that was like those were our dates,
Yep.
particularly early in our relationship.
Yep.
And before Elsie got here, we went to the Alamo and that was our thing. And we, for the first time it's probably been a year, went and saw John Wick 4 recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're walking through and I saw some of the posters for the Mario movie, which got me thinking, super topical, I found a Mario joke.
Okay.
Super topical, Mario, movies in the theaters. What did Mario say when he broke up with Peach?
I don't know.
It's not you, it's me, Mario.
It's good. And the movie's good, too.
Did you see it?
Yeah, of course. It's awesome.
I've heard so many
Did you take your
parents
kids?
comment
Awesome.
on it, like they took their kids there and they're like, it was great. Like
was really
kids
fun.
stayed entertained, and we was entertained the whole time too. So
And that's like the millennial dream, right?
Right,
The
yeah.
fact that there's actually a good Mario movie, which are the video games that we grew up on.
right,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
So that's awesome. Well, I think that's probably all, unless there's anything else y'all want to touch on. I think that's probably all we've got so far, huh?
Yeah, man. I think that's it.
I do think we need to celebrate one very important thing because this is the first episode since we crossed a certain threshold, DC.
So we
and
hit,
I'm super excited about it. And I think we should talk about
That's
it.
right. That's right. We hit 1,000 subscribers
God, dude.
on YouTube.
We're at 11. As of recording, we're at
That's good.
1,146, now 47.
That's right.
Subscribers.
No pressure, Isaac.
No, yeah. Get
I'm
it done,
there.
son. Get it done.
Doing it.
So we're at 1,100 plus subscribers,
Yeah.
and we very much appreciate everybody who's been listening and watching and subscribing. We hope you are interested in what we're doing and continue to be. In the comments of YouTube in particular, Give us your dad hacks. Give us your dad jokes in particular.
We've had some good dad jokes.
We've had
on
some
there.
good dad jokes in the
Yes.
comments lately, and
Yes.
so we definitely want to steal them heartlessly.
Yeah.
We're also putting our episodes out on Spotify if you want to listen to them there. If you're more of a audio person, you can
Yep.
get the video there too, but it's mostly an audio setup. And then we've got Facebook and an Instagram. So do all of the liking and the sharing and the subscribing just to keep up with what all we're doing.
Absolutely.
So unless anybody else has anything else,
That's it, man.
way to
For
go,
me.
decent dad. Nice
fun.
work,
Go.
man.
Decent
Way to
dad.
go, buddy.
Keeping the standard within reach.
That's
We
a new
might-
tagline.
yeah, I was like, we might
Keeping
rip
the
that
standard
off.
within reach. Yeah, over promise,
I love the
underperform. Wait, what? All right, so without further ado, I guess we'll wrap this thing up.
Yep. Let's wrap it up.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. So when Derek got done with his surgery, I met him at the house to make sure he could get into the
carried me
house.
inside.
I carried him into the. I didn't actually carry him, but I helped him into the house. Well, his mom was there, and I beat them to the house. Perfect. And so his mom was there, so I beat them to the house, and so I'm standing there like kind of talking to his mom for a minute, and she goes, "Well, I'm just glad you're here to take care of my accident-prone baby. He just breaks all of his bones and tears all of his
so-
Achilles and hurts himself and
exaggerates so much.
and one time he had a wire through his face, and she told me that whole story.
I was
and
5.
Yeah, exactly.